Oké, Vera, Elin, Sharon, jullie vakprofilering. Nee, ik ga even verder in het Engels. Yep, I'm going to keep going in English. Okay, I always prefer to give audio feedback when I can because it makes everything much clearer to people, because when you write you don't have intonation or anything. But anyway, so I've read through your report. Highlights such as this are spelling mistakes and typos or whatever. You'll see the odd comment, so your introduction was fine. Yeah, when you have things like this uit het interview blijkt dat, then I would say, okay, so for example, you say, in appendix you can find what we typed out from the interview or the questions that we asked, etc., just so that it's clear what you've done. That would have been a nice touch. You then had your theoretical framework on the English, if you like. It started with, and then you went on to Montessori education. You can read these sorts of comments, I think, are clear enough. Okay, what you've done here, and that's interesting, you've talked about the 4-fase model, you've sort of summarized what that is, and then you've talked about the schrijf van 5, but you've not said what's the link between the two. It would have been much nicer to make the link more explicit. Why do we have these two models and how do they work together? Yeah, you're missing a source here, Krashen and Terrell you talk about. And then you go on to what Montessori thought about how you learn language, and have said, of course, yeah, but in her day we didn't learn the foreign language, so it might have been different with her. Yeah, I think that's very clear. You can read these comments for yourself. Yeah, at this point you've said, hoe Montessori een vreemde taal had onderwezen is echter onbekend, omdat dit in haar tijd nog niet werd gedaan. Om aan te sluiten bij het gehele Montessori-onderwijs kan daarom het beste een methode worden gebruikt. Nou, it's the daarom. If you say foreign language wasn't taught, and that's why it's best to use a method that that takes on the natural language acquisition stuff, I think why daarom? So the correlation between the two isn't clear there. I think it's just the word daarom shouldn't have been used. Yeah, this is me wondering, I think, uitmaken. I think there should be one word, but anyway. Okay, then we get down to the actual games themselves. So it's nice that you've divided up into the phases, and obviously the introductiefase, yeah, you can't, and that you've also got the levels there, because of course you've got the 3 groups together, but also children working at different levels. So it's nice that you've added the levels, and I understand that these are the levels used at your school. Okay, these comments I think are fairly clear. Yeah, well, you talk about, I think this was the bingo game, where one kid has to read out the words. So the question is, of course, whether or not they have the words themselves, or just a picture, and what it is they have to read. Okay, then again here, comment, and then I went down to the end. Let's keep going. These are all the various games that you've used. And then in your conclusions, it would have been nice, because you say they don't voldoet nog niet aan de kerndoelen. And I thought, okay, how do we know that? So does that appear from the interview? Is that something because you looked at the dossiers or you observed lessons, etc.? So it could have done with a bit more depth to explain how do you know that in particular. That would have just made it much stronger. You talk about the teachers could create rubrics for speaking skills, and I thought, okay, and what are the rubrics supposed to look like? Is it based on the kerndoelen, schrijf van 5? Is it just general? So it would have been nice to, again, have a bit more depth. It stays fairly superficial. Okay, and then the reflections. The reflections are interesting. You haven't, any of you actually, had any smart aims. And you didn't link anything to the theory, which was a shame. It would have been nice to do that. This, there's some nice use of here, I think this was in Vera's reflection, yes, here you go, where there's a very concrete example. They become more motivated. I see that at my school, that they're more motivated, they concentrate longer, etc., etc. It's good that you added a bit of an evaluation from the school themselves there as well. and the necessary it would have been even stronger if you'd added in an example of the games, because right now you talk about using page this from Just Do It and that, etc. It would have been nice to have added a few examples to make it more visual, to add those in appendix to make it stronger. Okay, I'm going to pull up the assessment form. What you'll see here is I've written, oops, I can't use it here, Vera's name on it, but in the end, once I'd read through it all, it was the same. So in the end, you've all actually got the same grade, which wasn't necessarily the case. But, right, there are a couple of bits that convoluted sentences or incorrect things, so it's not absolutely perfect, if you like. The theory, you've used the theory. Again, there could have been some more thorough, in-depth theory. So what I've said basically the whole way through is it's fine, but there could have been a bit more depth. You could have gone a bit deeper. This is the idea of the base measurement. So what is the issue with the school? You wrote a paragraph about it, but it didn't go into any depth again, or you didn't say in the interview this was said, or it turns out that that was said, etc. That is something that could have made it a lot stronger, but you did do that. The description of the lessons, etc., so how you've described them and so on are fine. You have gone into the theory, but again, I kind of missed the link. Oh, here you see the link to the pentapi, or the link specifically to why do you do it that way, because children don't yet need to be able to do X, Y, and Z perfectly. On the whole, it was there. You described the 4 phases very thoroughly, and the levels of the games, and that was something that was very, very well done. So this is also your justification. You have linked up to child psychology and what they can, so that was very, very good. Now your reflection, all 3 of you had a fairly similar reflection. As I say, Vera had that nice use of a concrete example there, and you've all got new learning goals, which was good, but you didn't necessarily have smart learning goals, any of you, otherwise there would have been a switch up to here. But as you can see, you've all 3 of you in fact ended up with the same grade, so well done. You did a really, really good job, guys, something to be proud of.